Hey everybody, Jam Creates here. Driving home, so I'm gonna do another Commuter Cast. Missed a few days. I had some personal stuff going on I had to take care of. But I'm back, and I will continue to keep the stuff rolling along. So you know how these things work. I just kind of talk about whatever's in my head and whatever I feel like talking about that particular day. And you guys are just along for the ride on the ride home. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, I think, well, you know what? What the heck? It's October. So everybody likes the creepy, spooky stuff for October because, you know, Halloween and all that jazz. The new Halloween movie is making some money, so that's interesting to see. It's an interesting idea that they did with this of just saying, like, nope, nothing else, none of those other movies, all those terrible movies, yeah, they didn't happen. So forget about those, and just, this is the sequel. It's an interesting idea. I mean, as comic book fans, I feel like we are way used to this kind of stuff. I mean, how many times have we seen heroes that we read about, you know, characters that we follow? How many times have we seen them get rebooted and changed and start over again, and nope, that didn't happen, and this is really what happened, and that kind of stuff. In fact, entire universes have had that happen at this point. And it's an interesting thing when that happens, you know, because as a reader, or in this case, if you're talking about the Halloween movies, as a viewer, you could take it either way. You could take it a couple of different ways. You know, you could take it as, you know, it's insulting because, you know, I spent all my money I spent all this money and all this time, you know, watching these movies or reading these comic books and getting to know these characters and this lore and everything else, and now you're telling me that none of it matters, none of it happened, and that's it, we're moving on. And so I could see where, you know, that could be a frustrating thing as a fan, for sure. And I think sometimes it is a big deal. I mean, look at what Star Wars, when Disney bought Star Wars and then they announced that the entire expanded universe just didn't exist anymore. It was just quote-unquote legends and was no longer, you know, real, was no longer canon, which I understand why they did that. They were planning on making a lot more movies, and you don't want to be beholden to all that stuff because it would be insane. But at the same time, fans of those books, people who spent years, decades, really, reading all those books, they were pissed because, like, they spent all that time getting to know all these new characters and, you know, the children of the characters that we watched in the original trilogy and all this other stuff. And, you know, it really bothered them because they spent a lot of money on books and a lot of time, obviously, invested in reading. And I think that's the thing more than anything. I think more than the money, honestly. I think the money is negligible only because, you know, you can get, you know, paperback books. You know, you can get them pretty cheap after a while. You know, it's not the most expensive thing in the world. But I think more than the money, it's the time. I mean, time is precious to people. Time is the, you know, money you can always earn more. Time you can never get back. And when you feel like you've dedicated a lot of time and energy into following something and enjoying something, to then suddenly have someone tell you, oh, you know, all that stuff that you enjoyed and that you liked, yeah, none of that matters anymore. We're just ignoring all that. Like, that's frustrating. As a fan, that's frustrating. And this is, I think, where we get into now, where you see, instead of creators or license holders or whatever it might be, instead of them saying, you know, coming out and saying, hey, listen, we get it. We understand you put a lot of time and you put a lot of heart and effort into reading and loving these stories and everything else. And now we're taking that away. And again, when it comes to Star Wars specifically, I understand why they did it. Because if you were going to have to make sequel movies, you couldn't be beholden to these decades and decades of novels and stuff. Like, how would you? I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. And So I understood it, but what you need to do is you need to massage those fans. You need to treat those fans cordially. You need to apologize almost, or even to those fans and say, like, we're sorry. We know you spent all this time reading these stories, and what you tell them, it's, again, nothing you say is going to make it 100% better for them. It's just not. It just isn't. Like, the fans are going to be the fans, and some of them are going to jump on board and be right there with you right from the start, and others are going to be like, nope, never going to like it. Doesn't matter what you do. And that's fine. It's the ones in between that you need to try and win over. And, you do that by telling them, assuring them, listen, there is a reason we're doing this. We're doing this for the best possible creative reasons, so that going forward, our movies can be interesting and explore new ground and this, that, and the other thing, and not be beholden to all this. And, and that's what they could have done. Instead, what you see now, a lot of people literally just say, they're telling people who have spent tons of money and tons of time. The time is the big one. They've spent tons of time on these things, and they just tell them, nah, you're an idiot. Get out of here. You don't like our new stuff? Don't buy it. Well, big surprise, when the people that you tell if you don't like it, you told all that stuff that you enjoyed, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore, it's irrelevant, and oh, you're upset about that? Well, too bad. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Does it come as a big shock when they don't buy it? Is that really a big surprise? I mean, let's be honest. They're doing what you told them to do. I mean, you can't be mad about that if they don't buy it. You told them not to buy it. Like, that's the dumbest thing that you could possibly do. And you see this left and right in the entertainment world all the time now, and I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. No one is saying that you have to cater to malicious people or to, horrible people who are going to call you all kinds of names or whatever, or harass you online or anything else. But you do have to cater to someone, because a product that's catering to no one doesn't sell to anyone. And you know what happens to the people who make the product that doesn't cater to anyone, that doesn't sell to anyone? Yeah, they lose their jobs. That's how that works. That's how the real world works. Now, I know when you're in the entertainment industry, you're not really in the real world. I've been in the entertainment industry in a couple of different ways, both really in it and also tangentially in it as well. And I see how it works, and I know how a lot of these people think, and they don't know the real world. They don't. They have no clue. And every once in a while, you'll see someone who's in the entertainment industry who does have a clue, and it's shocking when you hear them talk. It's actually very funny to hear them when they talk about things. One of the people, years and years ago, I'll never forget this. I mean, I was a kid, and Michael Caine was doing an interview on, I don't even know what show it was. It was some random talk show he was on. And they were asking him why, when he is such a respected actor, was he doing, I'm pretty sure this is around the time of Jaws 4, The Revenge, which is a god-awful movie. I saw it in the theaters, by the way. I lay no claim to being a person of great integrity when it comes to what movies I will see. I'll see anything. Honestly, I kind of enjoy terrible movies. That's beside the point. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was for Jaws 4, The Revenge, which was a terrible movie, and everyone knew it was a terrible movie going into it, and everybody knew it was a terrible movie when they sat down to watch it, and everybody knew it was a terrible movie after they were done watching it. I mean, the shark roared, for God's sakes. But anyway, it did give us that amazing NES Jaws game, which I played for hours and hours and hours, and yes, I actually beat that game. And it took a long frickin' time, because there was no way to save in that game. Anyway, I've gone completely off the path here. They were talking to Michael Caine, and they asked him, why would you take a role in this movie? And he said the simplest thing And it was so matter of fact. It was just very funny to me. And all he said was, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't know the exact quote, but he said, basically, it's a job. I'm an actor. I'm taking a job. I don't know if the next job's going to come. I don't know when the jobs are going to stop coming. So I'm going to take the jobs that are offered to me because I can get money and I can get paid and I can do a job. He looked at it like a job, not he was doing this wonderful thing that was transforming society and changing lives. No, he was making a dumb movie about a shark that wanted to get revenge on a family and followed them to the Bahamas to do it. He knew he was making a dumb movie. But he didn't care. It was a movie. It was money. And I don't know what the box office return was on that movie. I know they got my money and my friend, because the two of us went to go see it together. But you know what? I respect that. That's a dude just trying to make a living. And that's a guy who gets the real world. I say this all the time, and I'm sure, if you know me, I don't know if you'd be sick of it, because I don't, whatever. I say this all the time. There is the world as it should be, and then there is the world as it is. And too many people out there only constantly see the world as it should be, and they don't understand the world as it is. And then when they get slapped in the face by the world as it is, they scream and cry that it's unfair and it's not right and how can this happen and blah, blah, blah. Because the world as it is doesn't give a duck's fart about you or what you want or what you think is fair. The world as it is does not care. That's just a simple fact. The world as it should be, sure, everyone would care about everyone, everyone would love everyone, there would be world peace, there would be an end to hunger, everything would be just wonderful. We would be able to pursue the things that we want to pursue without fear of debt and running out of money and medical bills and other expenses and things of that nature. Like, we wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff. That would be great. That would be wonderful. That's not the world we live in. So you got to live in the world we live in. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be a dreamer, that you're not allowed to have dreams and hopes and aspirations and to try for things. But the simple fact of the matter is nothing is owed to you. Nobody owes you anything. You have to take it. You have to earn it. And when I say you have to take it, I don't mean you have to take it in a negative way. You don't have to steal it. It's not a zero-sum game. If I'm gaining something, it doesn't mean you're losing something. That's not how it works. That's, again, not how the world works. A rising tide lifts all boats. It's an old trite saying, but it's true. And I see this a lot in comic books, in the comic book world right now. I see it a lot. It's funny. You can see the people who understand the world and the people who just have no clue. And the people who have no clue are the ones who are constantly screaming and yelling on Twitter and trying to get likes and whatnot and retweets and stuff. And they're not making any money. Their books aren't selling. They're being hired by their friends, and their friends are all like complete nutcases, and they're a complete nutcase. And what a shock, nobody wants to buy your nutcase screed comic book with terrible Tumblr art for $5 an issue. Huh, who could have seen that coming? Like, this is the thing I don't get. This brings me back around to the point I was at the beginning. And when you're talking about fans and you're talking about these reboots and turning things around and just saying, well, this stuff didn't happen and this stuff doesn't exist. This is the problem we've run into in the comic book industry really badly now, is we've got too many people who don't pay attention to the legacy of the characters, don't respect the legacy of the people who came before them, and they don't respect the history of the characters that they're being asked to write or draw. And so they're just doing whatever the heck they want with them, whether it makes sense for the character or not. You know, if you put a complete pacifist on a book like The Punisher, and they decide, well, I'm writing The Punisher, you know, and he's a violent dude, he kills criminals, and that's his whole MO. But I'm a pacifist, so I don't want to write a story like that. I want to write a story about a vegan who rescues lambs from farms where they're being raised to be turned into veal, and then rides those lambs into the fields and spreads world peace or something. Like, and you're going to call it The Punisher. You're going to do that story, but you're going to still call it The Punisher, and you're going to put it out for $5 a pop, and Marvel's going to publish it, and no one's going to want it. And it's going to get canceled after 3 issues, maybe 6 if you're really good friends with the people at Marvel. And everyone's going to be screaming and yelling about how you destroyed The Punisher, you ruined The Punisher, and instead of saying, oh, maybe I should have just written The Punisher as The Punisher. No, you're going to go on Twitter and say, all these people are harassing me because they didn't like the story I wrote. Yeah. Do you think when, I don't know, a filmmaker makes a bad movie in the past, when a filmmaker made a bad movie and Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down, that they said, that's harassment. They're harassing me. No. They just looked at it and said, yeah, I made a crappy movie, so they didn't like it. The best you could hope to get away with was to say, well, this isn't a movie for the critics. This is a movie for the people. And a lot of times that actually was true back then. That did happen. You know, you'd get like action movies and stuff that the critics would pan and people would love. People would go out and see them, you know, over and over again because they were just big, dumb action movies and they were fun. You know, look at a movie, you know, movies like Commando and Running Man and, you know, any like Arnold or Stallone or whatever. Like, those movies were not like critical darlings by any means, but they made tons of money because they were fun. People liked them. They were entertaining. That's what people want. People want to be entertained. That's all people want. And they want you to value their time. They don't want you to lecture to them. If they want to see a lecture, they'll go attend a lecture at a college or at a school or whatever. You can go see lectures. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You could go see a debate. You could go see a lecture. You could go see someone just giving a talk. You could go listen to the crazy guy on the corner with the microphone and the little speaker on his belt yelling about how it's the end of the world. If that's what you're into, I mean, by all means, go for it. Nothing wrong with that. And listen, if that crazy dude on the corner could monetize his speeches, he should. If there was like an audience who was like, I would pay money to listen to this guy rant and rave about the end of the world, well, then more power to him, because he's got something people want. Anyway, that's going to be the end of my all over the place talk today. I don't know what I'm going to title this one. I guess I'll talk about, I don't even know. Anyway, if you like this video, please click the thumbs up. Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications, please. And follow me on Twitter. I am at jam_creates. JAM_creates on Twitter. And follow me there. I'm not super active, but I am active enough. I'm tweeting just about every day, posting little snarky comments on things here and there too, just because sometimes I can't help myself. And that's it. I will talk to you soon. I gotta work on my outros. I'm trying to come up with like a catchphrase or something, because I know I've said peace out a lot and like whatever. That's like been a thing for me for the last bunch of videos. I don't know if that's gonna continue to be my video thing, my outro, but I'm trying to come up with something good. as someone who used to be a really big wrestling fan, it's hard for me to not just have like a thing to say right at the end to just punctuate the whole thing, like, and that's the bottom line, or, any of that stuff, if you smell, like, none of that. I don't have anything like that. And I'm in my car, so I could really be as loud as I want and as stupid as I want, and no one would know until, of course, they watch the video, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, that's a really long-winded way of saying I am out, and I will see you next time. Bye.